Hey there, it's Chris Green, host of the 99% Local Podcast. This podcast exists because I love meeting new, interesting people and sharing stories of success and sometimes failures. The 99% Local Podcast brings stories from Middle Tennessee and Nashville-based entrepreneurs, business owners, organizations, side hustlers, musicians, authors, and anyone else that might be interesting and has a story to tell. Everybody has a story, their own unique upbringings, and passions for why they're doing what they're doing. As far as the name of the podcast goes, well, I think you'll be able to figure that out on your own. Hey, podcast family. Welcome to episode number 29. This week brings a story that will bring you back to the roots of why this podcast even exists. Bag of Joy Bagel Company in Spring Hill, Tennessee is something that may long exist even after the COVID-19 pandemic passes. Nick and Kailani DeLorenzo, along with their 4 children, have created Bag of Joy Bagel Co. after temporarily losing both incomes due to COVID-19 closures. So let's step back to just a few weeks ago. Nick was furloughed from his job in the downtown Nashville entertainment arena, and Kailani had put her baby and maternity photography business on hold. Now, did you hear that they are a family of 6? They did what any family should do in time of crisis, which is not panic, and think outside the box to figure out how to make some income. They got together and thought, how can we pivot and support our family to make income when we can't do our normal jobs right now? So they started making bagels in their home kitchen, and the rest is history. At the time of my discussion with the DeLorenzos on April 2nd, they had just come up with this idea the week prior and watched as their Facebook followers grew to more than 800 likes in just a matter of days and now have reached well over 1,000 followers. Following their first release of bagels, they sold out within 3.5 minutes and followed with selling out almost 400 bagels in less than a minute. Yes, you heard me right, less than a minute this past weekend. And we're talking about hundreds of customers trying to order at once. You'll hear their complete story as well as the process for ordering their delicious bagels during our discussion, but what the DeLorenzos are doing are delivering or offering porch pickup for their bags of homemade bagels along with hand-drawn pictures from one of their young children. News about Bag of Joy Bagel Co. is spreading fast around Spring Hill, the rest of Williamson County, as well as throughout Nashville, as the DeLorenzos have already been featured on Fox 17 Nashville and News Channel 5's morning show. So let's let them tell the rest of the story. Here's my conversation with Nick and Kailani DeLorenzo from Bag of Joy Bagel Company.
When I sit down at the kitchen table, I think about eating my favorite bagel, lightly toasted with some cream cheese. Then the next thing I do is say, please, I like bagels, big and round. Please bring me the finest bagels in town. Sit down with Steve and sing with me the bagel song.
I don't know about you, but I'm hungry.
How are things going?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's a good crazy.
Yeah, it's a good crazy. Little unexpected crazy, but hey, whatever, man. That's awesome.
So you guys are Nick and Kailani DeLorenzo, and you guys are a Spring Hill family in Spring Hill, Tennessee, who started a bagel company during this coronavirus pandemic.
Yep.
That's right.
So more than that, you are a pretty big family. You have 6 in your family.
Yeah.
And I think I read that both of you actually lost your incomes also due to the COVID-19 closures. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct. Yeah.
He's not completely. Obviously, we can go back after it's over, hopefully sooner rather than later.
I'm on furlough right now with Agni Feed and Seed downtown Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a bartender. I've been in restaurants for 20 years, roughly. I've done front of the house mainly, but with this whole COVID thing, it's taken a hit on our industry. There's a lot of my friends that are hurting right now pretty bad. So it's we couldn't let that happen to us. We had to start scrambling to think of ways to figure out how to fix that situation.
Our kids like snacks, so we have to keep the snacks flowing.
Keep the pantry full for them.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll dig more into that here in a minute. So your Facebook page grew, like, I think today I looked, you have over 800 likes. You probably have more than I don't know, probably.
9:29.
Okay, wow. Well, and it's been what, a week now, or a
No,
little over a week?
Barely. I mean, we kind of did a soft opening originally.
Set up the Facebook on let's see, what day? Yeah, it's been almost a week now. So
Wow. Okay. So let's walk through this. I think you did a first release with your bagels, and I think you sold out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it sold out in it was like 10 minutes, something like that. Posting on my Heart Spring Hill page helped. And then we have a lot of friends who want to support us, so they showed up for us as well. But
the
yeah,
Spring Hill community itself is awesome. I mean, it really seems like everybody wants to help each other right now get through this.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I've had, I don't know if you're familiar with my podcast or not, but I have a lot of Spring Hill business people as well as throughout Nashville. And it's just, it's all of my friends in Spring Hill that are, running businesses and things. Is definitely, I love this community because everyone wants to help everyone out in times of need.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
love it.
Yes. So you guys did a second release of your bagels. I think it was, what was it, yesterday, or was that today? No, it was yesterday. So that would have been April 1st.
Yes.
And you guys sold out in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, I was sitting in here. I came in here. I was like, I guess I better go sit down at the computer while it's releasing and just kind of make sure there's not any questions or make sure it doesn't crash. Because I built the whole website and I set up the store per se. And I was like, I mean, if something goes wrong, then I need to be here. So I was sitting here and then it was like a couple minutes. And then I said, hey, Nick. And he's like, yeah, he was in the kitchen baking. And I said, they're sold. And he's like, what? I'm like, they sold all of them. All 200 bagels just sold. And he was like, what? And I'm like, they're gone. Literally I don't even know. It may have been less than 3.5 minutes because that's how long it took my email to catch up with all the orders as I was investing. So we were like, what?
We were blown away completely. So we did not expect that type of response.
Yeah. Yeah. We were just, whoa.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you more about that process here in a minute, but so you're blowing up. You're becoming like local celebrities. I know you told me today you were interviewed. You sent me an article. You're interviewed by Fox 17, and then you had an interview with News Channel 5. You're going to be, by the time this comes out, you were on their morning show. That's kind of unreal.
Yeah, we were like, what? We're kind of still in shock. We're just like, and we haven't been sleeping because we bake all night. So we're like, no sleep. We just drink, we're drinking beer right now and trying to stay alive with 4 kids and baking.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's go here. How did you decide to come up with this idea?
When this whole thing happened where restaurants started to have to close and whatnot, it happened during a week when we were planning on going on a spring break trip. So we ended up staying here. But we had we were planning on having a whole week off anyway. So we were kind of relaxed and didn't dive into the shock of the situation. So we kind of approached it with level heads, and neither one of us wanted to show our kids fear about the situation. We want to let them know that we're going to get through this. Everything's going to be fine. It's not that big of a deal, even though we just lost our way of making money.
Well, the first week we were kind of like, oh, we're off this week anyway, so maybe it'll be over by then. Yeah. We can go back to work. And then it was like, wait.
It just kept unfolding.
Right.
But so we had to put our heads together, and she's got such a strong entrepreneurial spirit. She's the mastermind of this whole thing. And we started thinking about things that we enjoy and thinking about something that the community doesn't have. And we love bagels. And anytime we want a good bagel, we have to go to Burgers in Brentwood. And they're like, why don't we just figure out how to make a good bagel and we can have good breakfast tomorrow? I was like, why don't we just sell bagels? And it was like one thing after another, late night conversation after the kids were in bed. And we're like, oh yeah, that's it. And we were sold on it. So next thing you know, like 2 weeks later, after I dove hard into to researching bagels and different styles, New York bagels, obviously the one I was paying the most attention to, but looked at tons of different recipes. And I mean, when I start getting into something, I get really passionate about it. And dive in deep. So I was like, I wanted to find out what makes a good bagel a really good bagel. And then next thing you know, with her speeding this thing into a business, I was like, I'm just going to start baking. And she was like, all right, I'm going to set up a page. And now here we are.
We didn't have a page set up until my friend posted on our Heart Spring Hill and said that we make good bagels. And then it escalated. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, we need to go. So in 10 minutes, I set up a Facebook page. And so, cause I was like, we have to strike while the iron is hot. And I was like, we need to set up a Facebook page now, an Instagram page now, a newsletter now. And I was just like setting it up all in like a 10-minute period of time after she posted it. And then it was, all of a sudden people just started following us and we were like, whoa, what just happened?
I honestly thought it was just going to be our friends, a group of people first, maybe a few folks that we didn't know, but I absolutely did not expect it to turn into what it has.
So what about the name? What went into that Bag of Joy Bagel Company?
I mean, looking at the situation, especially with within my industry itself, taking a major hit, I would say there's a lot of people that are in different situations that might be feeling pretty depressed about everything. Having lost hope or not. Having the best outlook on things. And I can understand that and relate to it, as a lot of people can right now. I was like, we just need to, I would love to get something out there that just puts happiness in somebody. I want to, in some way, just, share some bit of my joy with people. And I thought of my kids immediately. And I was like, what if with these bagels, we sent pictures that our kids drew for them? And then it just I started thinking, I was like, yeah, we'll call it the Bag of Joy Bagel Company. And I sent her a text right away because I was out getting supplies at a restaurant supply company. She was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what we got to do. And I kind of felt it too. I kind of knew immediately. I was like, yeah, it's what it has to be. It can't be anything else.
Tell me a little bit more how you guys are doing this. What's the process like for what you're doing and how you're selling your bagels?
So, we have two different things going on. We decided some days we want a day off, obviously. And then but some days we say we're going to have a day off and we end up baking. So we'll post on Facebook. Everyone, like tonight we posted, I think 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bags of bagels and said, hey guys, we have 9 bags of bagels right now, like a little pop-up. If you want them, you can get them. They sold out in a minute.
So I think with major ideas, we're going to do 2 drops a week because the process for these is it's pretty intensive to make the bagels themselves. So 2 big drops throughout the week, and then the smaller drops like what we did tonight, kind of interspersed in between them. But this is it's a process. We're learning, we're growing. So this is something that's going to continue on and change and evolve as we learn more about how to become more efficient and streamline the process.
Yeah, we also offer we do days where we'll tell people on Facebook like, hey, Saturday we're going to do a large drop of bagels like we did this past Saturday that sold out so quickly, and we'll set up our Facebook or our website on our Squarespace shop where we have bagels and people go on and they buy them using their PayPal or whatever, and then we deliver or we offer porch pickup. But we actually just met with Toast Now yesterday and in Boston and virtually, and they are setting us up like an ordering system. They're working on the back end now, and they're developing an ordering system for us to make it easier, because it's just what I built, I don't think will suffice. We had a lot of people that said that, they got to the cart and they were trying to pay and they couldn't, but that was because so many people logged on at once. It's something like over 100 people tried to buy bagels at once. And that's just not going to work when there's like, we can only make 200 bagels a night because there's 2 of us. So
we're working on ways to increase that.
Yeah, we're getting better at it.
Pretty much ever since I started this podcast, I've been telling you about a service called Anchor. And if you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And who doesn't have a podcast these days? Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you truly need to make a podcast in one place. Here's what you need to do. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So talk me through this. When you do these drops, when you advertise this, what does someone have to do if they want to try to take advantage of this and buy some of your bagels?
So I would recommend being on the site and ready, which before we do a drop, we will make a post and it'll have the link to where our shop is. So honestly, like it's whoever's fingers are fastest. Setting up PayPal One or PayPal One Touch, I think it's called, or something, where you can touch your finger to it and it pays.
Right.
Most people, I think, have the advantage over people who have to sit and type it in. And I think it has a lot to do with internet connection. Funny enough, me and him tried to buy something over Christmas that was in high demand for our kids, and we couldn't get it fast enough, and we both got angry about it. And then after this happened to us, we're like, wow, now we know how those people feel. Yep. Like we were those people, we're those people who wrote us that were like, we couldn't get the bagels. It wouldn't check out. And I'm like, okay, we get it now. So basically, internet connection and fast fingers, and PayPal One Touch is like, or Apple Pay or whatever, where you can just touch your finger. I think that's the fastest way to get it, because once it passes over from our shop to PayPal, it's kind of out of our hands, because then it's in PayPal's platform. So there's nothing we can do about speed or, their efficiency or whatever. So
right now you're selling these bagels, it looks like 8 bagels a bag for $15. Are you doing all types of variety of bagels?
Yes, we're mixing it up.
Yeah.
We started with
everything's going to be a staple because it's an everything bagel.
Everybody loves everything bagels.
It's the king of bagels.
Yeah.
We've been offering a plain bagel as well. We did a poppy seed. Just did a sesame seed. We did a cinnamon bagel that went over really well with the honey apple schmear that went with it. And then I just tried a strawberry bagel with the lemon schmear, the lemon cream cheese smear that went with that one. So we're trying to change things up. We're trying things out, but we wanted to get a few staples out there first, and then as we grow, we're going to add more to the list and get creative with things. We've had some requests from some people. There's an Asiago bagel that somebody was talking about earlier that sounded really good.
Jalapeno cheddar.
Yeah, jalapeno cheddar with like a bacon cream cheese spread on it. That sounds like it would probably be a pretty good hit too. But I don't know. The sky's the limit. The creativity is the same for me as it was with cocktails. Like I approach it. The cocktail is really just a vehicle for an experience for somebody. That was, when somebody came and sat at my bar as a bartender, my whole goal was to make them feel welcome, make them have the best time that they possibly could to my ability. And the cocktail was a part of it. So in order to make that part great, I had to dive into the cocktail and learn as much as I could about it, learn the history, learn how flavors worked. And that's because of all of that, it's really helped me in this venture and getting into bagel making. So the flavors that we're going to offer in the future, I like to keep things simple but interesting.
So one thing we didn't talk about is the unique way to actually get the bagels, and you're doing porch pickup.
Yep.
Which is going along with the whole social distancing thing. And
yeah. People have to agree to I set up an agreement when they check out that they have to wait in their car if there's someone on the porch, so they can, so obviously social distancing. We've set it up. People don't have to touch anything and open it. They can just grab their bag directly. So there's not multiple people touching things, So it's interesting. But hey, we're doing it.
Yeah. And you're doing deliveries too, or?
Yeah, we are doing deliveries to our local community. And those work very much the same way that grocery delivery and other restaurants are doing their delivery services right now, where we drop it off on the porch and notify them in some way, or just let them know about the delivery time. And we don't ring doorbells or anything. It's trying to keep as much separation as possible.
So you kind of already talked about moving forward. So, we really don't know when this coronavirus thing is going to end, but it sounds like you want to try to keep this thing going
Yeah, we hope. I mean, we now seeing what the response is to this, and that, I mean, we had a need for bagels that were closer than 25 miles away. And so
Right.
we were like, well, maybe Spring Hill has that same need and want. So we were like, well, let's, try this out. People may not be as accepting of bagel. We didn't realize how many transplants there were from the north. New Yorkers, New Jersey, Philadelphia, they're going nuts over it. They're just like, oh my gosh, this is just like New York. And we're like, what? Wow. Awesome. So we didn't realize how many transplants there were from New York. But they really enjoy it. But now that we know that there is a definite need, we're kind of like, well, maybe we need to think about the future, because we don't know when this is going to be over, but when it is, I go back to work. I'm a newborn photographer. I photograph babies for a living. And then he goes back to bartending. And I was like, we're going to have to figure out how to do this, because if it's as busy as it is now, then both of us working, ooh, so we're like, we've got to have a plan in place for when this does end.
Yeah, because now it gives a different avenue for income for us that could have the potential of being a viable business after this is all over with. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I'm not going to say that a store is a definite thing, but it's definitely something that we've been talking about and considering, especially in light of the response that we've received so far.
So the common theme of this podcast is that most of the guests aren't originally from Nashville or Middle Tennessee. So I have to ask, are you guys originally from Tennessee?
I am from Texas. I'm from a small town called Star, Texas, of 300 people. But I've lived in Rhode Island and Connecticut. I lived in Southeast Asia. I've traveled a lot, but I'm from Texas. He, on the other hand, is
a Nashville native.
A Nashville native, very rare. He's a rare breed.
Yes. Yes. I was wondering if there was ties to New York because of the whole New York bagel thing.
But my father was originally from New York, but he's
from Brooklyn.
Yeah, from Brooklyn. But he was a little boy when his family moved down here, or my grandparents moved down here. But there's still I still have a lot of family up there. I mean, man, I've got an extended family that I haven't.
He's Italian, so his family is before, massive.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are some roots there, but it's kind of interesting because I dealt with this in school, being an Italian in the South. It was great. I would cling to the other Italians that I would find, and we had like our little. We would become friends immediately. It was just like this instant familiarity, and it's interesting as I've gotten older. And being in the bar business, people from up north, they would start talking to me and ask me, like, are you from upstate New York or something? Like, no, I was born and raised in the South. I'm a Southern boy. You get me hanging out with my mom down in the country and I'll start having a little Southern drawl in my voice. But you put me in a fast-paced environment, especially around other Northerners. And I don't know, I worked in a pizza shop when I was a kid, so that helped with it. This Northerner thing starts coming out of me. So I guess maybe the spirit of that is what's allowed me to make a good, chewy, tasty bagel.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So you guys have 4 little kids. Are they getting involved in helping with the actual baking as well, or are they just sticking to drawing the pictures?
The oldest is 10.
Okay.
So she helps here and there. When we're like, hey, Presley, can you grab that? We did out with this, when it's going crazy, our kids, filled with cans. But the others are only 5, 3, and 18 months. So we're assigning them to art duty at the moment. And they do run between our legs as we're trying to bake and do things. But for the most part, they're just drawing pictures.
Before we plug your website and your social media, is there anything else you guys would like to add?
Well, I guess we just want to say thank you to Spring Hill. This is ridiculous. Absolutely. We were initially we weren't too worried. We have savings and whatnot, for a rainy day, but we never expected, we were like, okay, let's start doing this in case we don't know. Some people say, oh, this could last till August. This could last till, we were like, well, we're going to have to start thinking about the future because we can't be out of work until August or September with 4 children. So we were like, let's think about it. Let's get this going. Let's do something that we enjoy where we can work together. Cause that's how we met. We worked together. We were bartenders together and we were like, let's just bring it back around. Let's start working together again. And let's do something with food. We love food. We love to cook. My dream originally was to go to culinary school. But
I wanted to be a chef when I was a kid as well, and ended up in restaurants anyway. But just on the different side of things. Now
all our kids want to be chefs.
Yeah.
But our little 5-year-old said, "Can I add this to my resume?" His artwork. I was like, sure.
Absolutely.
So really, we just want to say thank you to everybody who's supported us. Like people have really come together, and I know it's like the warm and fuzzies right now because of everything going on, but we hope that this outlasts, after, goes past coronavirus, and this keeps being successful, and we can keep providing bags of joy for everyone, because when they tag us in those little pictures of our kids, that our kids have drawn, and we show them to our kids, they are just like, I'm famous. Like, they're so happy. It's so cute. Like, I've cried so many times showing them where people have tagged them and wrote sweet messages about their little pictures. So, but we really enjoy it, and we hope to keep doing it for a really long time. I think we may have found something that we both want to do for a very long time.
It just feels right.
Yeah, well, that's great, guys. So go ahead and share your website, and then where you can be found on social media.
Yeah, so our Facebook is facebook.com/Bag of Joy Bagel Co. And our website is www.bagofjoybagelco.com. Facebook, we give most of our updates about our drops, and we also let everybody know when we're going to do one of our big scheduled drops. And then we also post bags here and there whenever we get an extra day to bake. We also have an Instagram. It is Bag of Joy Bagel Co. But Facebook is definitely the place to follow us, because that's where
we're old and we're still Facebookers.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I feel comfortable on Instagram. I mean, on Facebook more so than Instagram. I don't know. I can't figure out Instagram's algorithms, whatnot. But Facebook for sure is where to hear about our drops and keep up with everything. We hope to post, memes on there, funny stuff, and bagel facts, and some little profiles of each of our kids and stuff like that. So everybody can kind of get to know us as a family, so they know who's making these bagels and these little pictures.
Well, that was my conversation with Nick and Kailani DeLorenzo from Bag of Joy Bagel Co. I hope you're blown away by their story as much as I was. You definitely need to get on their Facebook page and hit follow, so you know what they're doing every step of the way. I also want to thank Nick and Kailani for taking the time out of their busy baking days to chat with me. I also want to thank the Middle Tennessee and Spring Hill community specifically for showing so much support to local and small businesses during the COVID-19 closures. It might be becoming cliche to say we'll get through this together, but I don't really care. It's true. Keep doing what you're doing, Nashville, and we will overcome this and come out of this stronger and with renewed and fresh perspectives.